HR friends, I'm Lindsay Picardo, and I'm here to talk to you about leading across screens, mastering remote dynamics with heart, but also high standards. For the last decade, I've been speaking on stages, coaching teams, doing internal trainings, all about soft skills, all about how humans connect, particularly across age differences. Now, if you've studied anything about generations, you already know this. One of the biggest differences between generations is our experience with technology, what we're doing right now. And so, what I want to do today is I want to propose a new structure that you can use for check ins, particularly when you're across screens. I want to talk to you about why it's so important that we connect, what gets in the way, and the tool that you can start using immediately. We've got the download for you. So let's jump in. Some folks ask me, Lindsay, how did you get into speaking about generations at work? Well, my first job out of college was hitting things with sticks. But I'll tell you what, being in a band taught me so much about teamwork. It taught me about the importance of not just being excellent, being dialed in and nailing my drum fills. Not just nailing that, but also connecting with my team, connecting with the audience, making sure the sound techs have what they need. All of life is about connection, not just excellence, but how do we build relationships as we work? You know that better than most. So I want to tell you this next. When I graduated from touring, that's how I like to say it. In reality, when my band decided to move to all corners of the country and I was so tired of traveling, I had to take a break. I went back to school and I studied coaching. I started to study, what is it about audience members that make them stay for the show? Is it just the cool guitar licks? Is it just the drums? No, it's how we all come together. That's what people want to watch. They want to watch how teams, even musicians, play and work together. And so in coaching school, this is exactly what I studied, how our attitude impacts other people, how we have emotional contagion with one another, how if we're not clear, we might look kind of lazy and disengaged. I learned so much about the human dynamic. And from that, we created programs like Unleash My Career, you can see here, Career House, which we focus on sorority women to build a career that they can sustain themselves in while continuing to build their sorority network. We've got the band, which teaches soft skills, all this cool stuff, all coming back to this one thing. Humans want to feel connected. And how do I know this? How do I know that humans want to feel connected? Well, look at us in the wild. If you put us in any situation, humans, especially in the wild, we look a lot like our friends, the elephants. We are made to be pack animals. We're made to move and act and protect each other. Look at us here in the wild again, around the fire, the human beings. And once again, if you were to see us out and about, this is our natural state. This is how humans prefer to be with one another. We can see this based on research. Humans are primarily social. We neuroregulate with each other. Did you know we impact each other's chemical balance in our blood? When we're within 8 to 10 feet, we are impacting other people's cortisol. We're impacting how pro-social we are. It's wild. We also know that loneliness can lead to a deterioration of our physical health. We know that over 70 studies have found that loneliness increases your chance of death by 26%. You may as well smoke 15 cigarettes a day. So here's what's happening in our world right now. You've got these highly social creatures who want to see each other and interact by themselves, sitting behind screens, at coffee shops, in their spare bedroom at home, in their kitchen. Some are going back to the office. And people ask me all the time, Lindsay, why doesn't this feel like it used to feel? I get to wear sweatpants when I want now. I get to be with my dog, my rescue dog that I got over COVID, but something is different. You're exactly right. We get what I like to call zoomed out. And this is because being a social creature, your unconscious mind is designed to pick up on tons of signals that help you connect and bond. And technology actually strips those out. Let me give you some examples. Multiple undertones in your voice. Touch. Think about when you meet somebody, you high five, you shake hands, you might hug if they're a closer friend. Our peripheral vision, if you and I are sitting right now at a table, even in a training room, I'd be able to see you and know if you're tracking with what I'm talking about. I would already know who here's drummer. I would already know who is connecting with what I'm saying and who's challenged with it, who's struggling. But now, I don't know. And our peripheral vision gives us a lot of cues about if people are tracking with us or not. How about smell? Isn't that weird? We actually pick up a lot with smell. Think about your most comforting dish. Mine is making sauce on Sundays with my family, half ground beef, half ground sausage. I'll give you the recipe later. This is not the moment. But smell brings comfort, brings familiarity. Your grandpa's cologne, your mom's perfume, your friends' perfume that they use. We are connected through smell more than we think. We also, when we're in person, we mirror each other, we laugh together, we have little micro expressions that tell somebody if we really agree with them or not. A lot of this is lost through the screen. You may have noticed this too. There's also like a little tiny lag when you're virtual. And in that like millisecond, when you're waiting for the person to respond to you, in that minute, our anxiety tends to rise because the person isn't mirroring us like our mind and our nervous system expects. This is everything about being on a computer all day kind of rails against being a human. The ways that our eyes see, our eyes are meant to pull in several layers at different distances all day. Anybody notice that they had to get glasses in the last few years? Because your eyes are strained because we're looking at the same distance all day, every day. The way our ears listen, we're pulling in cues, timing cues, tempo cues, tones that we don't get to hear through the camera. Our brains focus attention. Do you ever find that at this point, after 5 years of kind of living more remote, that some of your teammates say, I don't need to come on camera, and they don't want to come on camera. They don't want to really engage. I hope your team's doing the opposite, but sometimes we have a hard time focusing, sitting still all day, not high-fiving, not seeing people in real time. It's just hard to focus. And even this, think about this, okay? The fact that I can see myself right now, I'm right here for my screen, I can see my face. This is a weird experience. Humans are not meant to see themselves as they're talking all the time. Are you one of those people that like turns your camera off? You're like, I can't even do this. Off. So we're living in a version of reality that humans struggle with. It's not really conducive to connection. And this is why you can't go back to back all day on Zooms. One of the reasons we're seeing burnout is because people think they can work more. Like, oh, I'm finished one Zoom, boop, gonna pop on the next Teams, boop, gonna pop on another Teams, boop, gonna call. And because we're not getting a moment to kind of, air out, drive to the gas station, get a coffee, because we're just sitting here all day, it burns us out. Have you noticed this? So I think it's really important before we jump into this check-in tool I'm gonna show you, we all need to pace ourselves. And there's a real thing called sedentary stress. Your Apple Watch can measure it. But what it is, it's when you're dealing with problem solving. Do you ever have this? You got problems coming in your emails. You get the spike of stress. You're trying to answer back and then ping on you. Gotta look at my phone. Oh, my kid needs me to pick him up at school. And we're doing but the whole time we're sitting. And what happens is our body doesn't get to release the stress. It doesn't get to shoot it out and walk down the hall and take a break and grab a glass of water. We're just sitting here all day. And it builds up stress in our bodies. So I just want to share today, please be mindful with me how much time you spend on tech and how much time you spend sitting. Because one of the reasons we struggle with being connected and productive is simply because this is not human to sit all day and to just type words into a screen. Humans are made to always be on the move a little bit. We're made to be outside. That's where our nutrition is, our vitamin D. We're more like houseplants than computers. And we all know what happens when you don't water a houseplant. Okay, so how do I manage my team when we're never in the same room, Linz? I hear what you're saying. Maybe you're understanding and you're like, Linz, I hear what you're saying. We're moving through this new way of working. It's really new to humanity and it's not really how we're wired. So how am I going to manage my team while we do this? Well, there is a secret to awesome teamwork and awesome leadership, and I thought I'd show it to you here. One way to think about your work with your team is this. How can I raise clarity and standards. Be super clear about what's expected, even every day, especially if you're remote. What's expected by the end of today? How do I raise our clarity and our standards? Because humans do want to do a good job. It feels good. There's a reward for that for us, right? But then also, how do I increase my support and how do I coach? And so if you look at this chart with me, and I'm sure you've seen something like this before, it's like our favorite teachers, our favorite coaches from our childhood probably had high standards for us. They pushed us farther than we'd ever push ourselves, but they didn't just do that. They showed us that they cared about us. It's both. It's both. And I have a lot of big-hearted leaders tell me, Linz, I'm not sure. I feel like I'm pretty caring and empathic and I'm pretty lenient, but I'm not sure that my team respects me. And I feel like they're kind of taking advantage of this and just like doing less and less. I see this with big-hearted leaders a lot. It's almost like we're out of balance. And look what happens on this chart. If I'm entitled and confused as an employee, it's probably because I'm getting a lot of support, a lot of coaching. I have a super empathetic leader, but they're not being clear. And so when something goes wrong, I just think, oh, well, I'm sure Sarah will take care of it. I mean, she usually takes care of this stuff, and she knows I'm stressed, so. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So how are we going to help you build an environment virtually and make sure that clarity and standards are high and your folks feel supported and you're able to coach them? We're going to talk about it right now. This is the tool that's available for you to download. It's a check-in tool. As a certified coach and a researcher around generations and human behavior at work, I'm learning more and more how important it is that we create rhythm, repeated structure for people to come back to. It helps create a sense of calm. And so that's what a check-in is. And what's cool is we can train not just you to use this tool, but I want all your teammates to use it. You know why I want your teammates to use it? I want them to bring it to you filled out. I want to save you the time and energy of going, okay, wait, what's my next meeting? Okay, it's with Matt. Okay, what was Matt's deal again? What was he working on? Let me go to our project management. I want you to say, oh, I'm meeting with Matt. Great. I know he's got his check-in ready to go. Let's jump in. So here's what they are. Check-ins are intentional experiences designed by a leader to make sure that team members feel heard, understood, but also have what? The clarity they need to make the most of their time and efforts. Check-ins can be done daily. They can be done in less than 5 minutes. They can be done weekly in less than 30 minutes. It's just important, like we were talking about, that there's a rhythm and regularity to the check-ins so that team members feel valued, so that they can predict some certainty from you as a leader. Now, here's the thing, and I want you to take this sheet and give it to all your team. Even if you aren't the leader, you can bring this outline to your manager or your mentor and work through your meetings in a strategic and helpful manner. I found over and over again, what is actually tiring us out is recreating the wheel every week. But what if you have that structure built in? Let's talk about this together. I got to keep moving my head around here. Whoa. Okay, I'll put myself over here. The 5 C's of a check-in are this, and they're in this order for a reason, which we'll talk about. Compassion, clarity, challenges. I gave myself balloons here. Certainty of success, and of course, we end on celebration. This is a purposeful pattern. We start with making sure that we acknowledge the whole person in front of us, not just the duties they're responsible for. This will naturally shape the tone of the conversation. It'll help you tune in as a leader. We really have to start with compassion because when we're long distance, when we don't see somebody all the time, it's a little more work, isn't it? To like check in with somebody, to make sure they're in a good spot, to find out what's going on in their life. We actually have to, it's not just like, oh, I see them by the water cooler. Oh, they're kind of walking different today. I hope they're not exhausted, or I hope they weren't up all night with their new baby. We don't know any of that. We just see them sitting in the same spot. So we're going to start with compassion. And here's what it looks like. I might have to make my head a little smaller. Hold on a sec. There we go. I'll put myself there. You want to start with compassion and ask some direct questions. What's your stress level like this week? 1 to 10. Maybe they have a sick family member. Maybe their kid's been home with, I don't know, laryngitis, an ear infection. And you're just checking in. Because at work, we would find this out just naturally living in the same space. But now we have to be more considerate and really think about what could be going on in this person's life. For me right now, one of the reasons I'm in front of this bookshelf, to be honest, is because we had all these storms come through my area and my basement flooded. So I have a whole really cool studio. I was so excited to show you. And because my basement is torn down to the studs right now, I thought maybe we should come to my bookshelf. If you are on my team, it would mean a lot to me. If you're like, hey, Linz, how's your basement doing? Like, how are you feeling? You got videos you need to make? Like, what do we need? What do we need to do to help you? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't mean like I'm going to sit here like, thanks, I'm really struggling. It's just like, let's be aware of what's going on in people's lives. This is also the first C. This is where you might share accommodations in advance. Like, I know you asked to work from home tomorrow because your puppy's recovering from surgery. Like if you are in the office, or I know you have a big day tomorrow. I know you're taking your dad to his chemo treatment. So let us know if we can take anything off your plate. Just, it's about showing, even when we're not in person, that you're at the level of emotional intelligence as a leader, that you're able to create this type of connection over the screen. This could also be, if it's not personal and you're like, Linz, we're an international company, talking about personal stuff is not an option, it's inappropriate. I understand. Just debriefing a stressful work scenario. Hey, that client looked like they rattled you. What are your thoughts looking back? Just checking in, you know? That's the first C, compassion. And the reason it has to happen first is because until somebody feels like you see all of them, they're going to be defensive, even about very basic things. So it's important that people feel like you're on their team and that you truly are. If you're having a hard day, that's okay too. Even asking yourself, what is it going to take for me to show this person compassion because I'm struggling today? That's okay too, for you to have that moment for you. So after we've spent a couple minutes or a minute or 30 seconds in compassion, we move into clarity. This is what's so helpful. Do you see, remember that chart that I showed you that's clarity and standards on one side, support and coaching on the other? So we started with support and coaching, and now we're going to raise the clarity. So asking somebody to report to you, how clear is your progress so far? Do you have an idea of where you are in each of your responsibilities? The reason I'm asking is I want the other person to report to me. I don't want to do the labor of like, oh, let me see how far along they are. Just let them tell me. Let them do that work. And then after they share, you might reflect and say, hey, it seems like from my perspective, you all are about 80%. Is that kind of where you'd say you're at? It doesn't mean that you can't reflect. It just means train your staff, train your employees, train your teammates, train your volunteers to come to you and report this to you without you having to do all that labor first. And that's why you want them to have this sheet too, because they might say, oh, compassion, you should know my dog's having dental cleaning next week. It's going to be a little distracting on Tuesday. Clarity. I think I'm 80% done with this project. I need you to sign off on the final design. Do you see how they could be bringing this to you and you could co-create this? The next C is challenges, because nothing ever is going perfect, is it? Nothing ever goes to plan, especially in the world we live in, living all spread out, working remote, trying to create connection and team building. Let's tackle the challenges together. Asking questions like, where do you and the team feel stuck? What internal or external resistance are you facing? Any surprises or unexpected challenges you're working with? You're just really asking, where are things not going to plan? And how can I help push you through this moment? It might be that you're offering next steps, like helping them brainstorm a solution. It might be going more the mentorship route and saying, I've been in this scenario. Do you want to hear my experience? So let's say you ask, hey, what external resistance are you facing? It feels like this project's stalled out, Bill. What do you think? And Bill says, well, you know what? It is kind of stalled out because our vendor hasn't gotten back to us. So we're just waiting for them to get back to us so we can continue on. Okay. Now as a leader, you be able to say, okay, I've actually been there. You want to hear my experience? Or let's brainstorm what you could do right now. Either way, it's not like one way is right or wrong. It's just, how do you help address challenges head on and show your team over and over every week, because you're doing this regularly in a rhythm, every week, that you've got their back and you're going to help them through. That's what this section is about. How can we work through challenges together? After you've worked through that, you're looking at the certainty of success. So this is where you're getting crystal clear on what it looks like to be successful just this week. Something I'm noticing as I coach in all different environments is that staff and employees feel overwhelmed because they're on some type of annual plan, even monthly plan. But I'll tell you, young employees and a lot of employees in general, just humans, we work much better on a shorter time frame. It's not that we shouldn't have an annual plan or a monthly plan, but what about weekly? What about daily? And putting this question back on your team, how will you know you've progressed far enough this week? Even how clear is your number one priority for this week? What do you need to make sure you get to where you want to go? Do you need support from a teammate? Do you need alone working time? Oftentimes, when we are in a remote situation, we have 10 number one priorities. Our attention is too fractured. And so this helps everybody say, okay, wait, let me make sure we're on the same page about what success looks like this week. When we can control the day, a few hours, the week, we get a lot of power back, you know? And this is sometimes where you might jump into and say, hey, based on our objectives, this is what success looks like. I'm just going to share with you. Some things have shifted. So this is what success looks like now. And this is how I'm measuring success for this project. And you get to also be clear about what certainty looks like. Now, do you see? Just imagine with me, if instead of doing connection and compassion first, if you started with certainty, how would that frame the conversation? You see how it might be a little rattly for somebody who's unsure if you like them because they only see you through a screen. It's so important that you do it in this order. So that by the time you're coming to the end, they're like, okay, I feel supported. I feel connected. I feel clear about where I'm at. I know what my challenges are, and I know what it means. I'm certain of what it means to be successful. This is the magic of a check-in. And then you always want to end on a high note. And why is that? Why might it be helpful to end on a high note? Because you're sending that person off again alone into the woods to keep growing and to keep moving and ending on a high note. Just like, have you ever been to a concert? I hope so. I hope you've gone to a lot of concerts in your life. If not, all good. But if you've gone, you know that the end show, the last song you play, better be a number one hit. You want everybody chanting with you, yelling with you, raising the energy before everyone leaves. And that's this energetic curve that we're creating. We start with connection, then we get some clarity, and then we look at the challenges, and then we're like, okay, I know how to get the certainty of success, and now I got to end on a high note, asking, what are you most proud of? What's the hardest part of this? How did you navigate it? What's going well right now? You want to end with a person saying to themselves, yeah, I'm doing a couple things right. I feel good. This is your chance to offer encouragement. Look at how far you come. Can you imagine how much growth it took for you to be able to do this? Man, this would have felt impossible 6 months ago. This is your moment to show your heart again, to show how much you see them and care about them, and you help them build courage and confidence to keep moving forward. Now, the reason that I want you to take this PDF and send it to your team is because there's one more piece to the check-in, okay? And the last piece of the check-in is zone of responsibility. Think about, in your current work scenario, you want every teammate to self-report what C's they believe they're responsible for. So if you're my boss and I'm like, I just think I'm responsible for like telling you what I think I'm doing well, okay. So where are the other C's coming from? You want everybody to know at the end of the day, it's kind of a trick question, that all 5 C's come from every single employee. It's my job to come to the table and offer compassion for the team. It's my job to offer clarity, to help work through challenges, to help with certainty, to make sure we're all certain of what this week is going to look like, and then ultimately celebrating each other and together. And so this last question just gives your teammates a chance to go, okay, hold on. What am I willing to take responsibility for? When that's not clear and somebody goes passive, it usually means they don't have the clarity they need from you about how you want them to show up. So this is what this part reveals. You've got this sheet. It's really like a front and a back, or you could say it's 2 worksheets. See how you would tweak it. How would you edit it based on your expertise, based on your team to make it work for you? Because ultimately, all of us have this one question that we're asking, and it's this: will you be the leader you never had? This is the question at the core of this check-in experience. And do you know why it's the question? It's because I'm sure that as we were going through this, there was a part of you at one point that was like, oh, I don't like that. Why should I don't want to like get weird about their dog's teeth surgery, or I shouldn't have to, I'm paying them. I shouldn't have to help them with clarity. That's their job. If you're having those moments, I get it. I study generations. This is why generations don't get along, by the way. It's because all of us were raised differently than we're expected to act now at work. And so my question to you is, as you go through this sheet and you have some moments where it kind of rubs you the wrong way, will you consider being the leader you never had? Will you take a holistic approach with high emotional intelligence and high structure and help your team like never before? Because working through screens means you and I have to raise our emotional intelligence. We have to be able to tune in, we have to be able to storytell and deliver compassion and clarity every day using words, not just giving somebody a pat on the back or buying somebody a coffee. We've got to be able to communicate it. And that's what this tool helps you do. I would love to stay connected. There's plenty of ways to do it. Check out my website. Let's stay connected on LinkedIn or Instagram. I'd love to stay connected, and I want to hear what you thought about this tool. Make it your own. Make it your own. Make it work for you. Keep these kind of big theme ideas, and you'll see how much closer and connected your team is. Thanks for taking your time and your attention to learn this. I'm excited to see how you apply it. Thanks, everybody.